Hi, my name is Melanie and I am going to be making Ensaladong Talong. This is a pretty quick and easy Filipino dish. It's basically an eggplant salad that could be served as a side or as a light meal. So let's begin.
So for this recipe, we'll use 3 to 4 medium Chinese eggplants, 2 medium tomatoes, 1 small red onion, half a tablespoon of minced ginger, cilantro for garnish, a 1/4 cup vinegar. You can also substitute that with calamansi juice, a half a teaspoon brown sugar, and a tablespoon of fish sauce, which in this recipe, I am substituting that with soy sauce because I'd like to keep it vegetarian, and salt and pepper to taste.
So the first thing we're going to do is cook our eggplant. That's going to take the longest for this recipe, so we'll get started on that right away. I'm using a gas stovetop. I did put some foil down on my stovetop because as the eggplant cooks, it will get a little bit drippy. You can also broil the eggplant if you don't have a gas stovetop or prefer a different way. You would get the eggplant on a baking sheet, put the baking sheet about 6 inches from the top of the oven, set your oven on broil, and rotate the eggplant every 3 to 6 minutes until the skin is nice and charred and the middle of the eggplant is nice and soft. And other people also prefer grilling the eggplant, so if you prefer the grilling method, that's completely acceptable too. So let's get started. I'm gonna just turn my stovetop on, and I'm really just gonna get my eggplant and put it directly over the flame. And as the eggplant cooks, it is going to get, the skin of the eggplant is gonna get a little bit deeper purple, and then it'll turn into more like a charred look. I'm gonna do 2 right now because that's all I have room for. I'll use my tongs to turn them every so often, and then I'll do my next 2. And once they're nice and soft and charred on the outside, I know they're done. Okay, so I've got my eggplant in the background there, getting all charred up and cooked. In the meantime, I'm gonna start dicing up my tomatoes and my onion, and every now and then I'm gonna give my eggplants a turn, so I'll be kind of multitasking here. Let me start by giving my eggplant a turn. Those eggplants are already getting a little bit charred on the outside. And then here I've got my onion and my tomato, and I'm gonna give it a good dice. And this salad comes together quite quickly, so you know, sometimes it helps to maybe do it. You could even do it 1 step at a time. Get the eggplant done first, and then chop your onions and your tomatoes. It's all up to you and what you feel comfortable doing. And I'm just giving these a nice dice. I'm gonna put them in a bowl and mix this with my onion and start creating my salad here. Okay, I can hear my eggplant sizzling in the background. I'm gonna give it a good turn real quick. And the eggplant's already starting to get a little bit charred on the outside. They cook fairly quickly because they're so long and skinny. So they do require some attention. And I'm almost done chopping up my tomato, and then I'll start on my onion. Okay. And again, this onion's a little bit large, so I'm going to chop this down so it's not, probably about half of what I have here. All right, so let's cut my onion. I'm gonna literally chop this guy in half so I don't have too much onion. Put that aside. And let's check on my eggplant right now. I can hear it sizzling in the background, so let me get my camera over here for a minute. And as you can see, It's starting to char up there on the edges, and I'll just continue turning it. All right, and then to cut my onion, I'm gonna leave the root on and give it a nice dice. Let me get some of the skin off here. And I'm using a red onion. I'm gonna leave the root ball on of the onion. I'm gonna leave the root on of the onion, kind of make it a little bit easier as I chop it. I can smell my eggplant in the background and it smells pretty good. Okay, so let me give the onion a nice dice here. All right, and then I'll add this to my tomatoes. Here's my tomatoes. And let me go give my eggplant another turn. Okay, let's see how it's coming along here. Now we've got a little bit more char to the eggplant. I'm gonna give it a little turn. They're starting to get a little bit mushy now, so that's good. I can hear some of the eggplant. I can hear it kind of dripping a little bit. I'm glad I put my foil down there. And we're gonna keep doing this until all the eggplant, and the skin is gonna come off a bit. You can see right here, the skin is kind of coming off a little bit, so that's a good thing. That's what we want. So the next thing I'm gonna do, I've got my onions and diced up tomatoes here in a bowl now. I'm going to use about half a tablespoon of ginger. I still have my eggplant in the background cooking on the gas stove top. The first two eggplant I'm cooking are almost done. I'm going to mince up some ginger now. This ginger will give it a nice kind of, I find it to be refreshing flavor. And once this is minced up, you only want about half a tablespoon, and we'll add it to the tomato and onion. So there's my ginger. And now let's go check on the eggplant. Okay, here I have my eggplant. My first two eggplants are almost done. They're starting to get quite mushy and charred. You can see how they're got some blackness going on there. So the end here is still a little hard, so I'm gonna kind of move them around on my flame. And once that is done, I will start on the other two eggplants. They've been cooking now for about 4 minutes, so they cook pretty fast. Okay, so here's, because the eggplant were just a little too big to do all at once, I split them up into two. This one is pretty much done. As you can see, it's quite mushy. It's pretty charred on the outside. This one has a few more, maybe 1 more minute to go. I'm gonna go ahead and get started on another eggplant. And then we'll get our dressing ready for our salad. So let's go make the dressing. Okay, so in my bowl here, I've got my diced tomatoes, my diced up onion, I've got my ginger, and then now I'm gonna make a simple, quick vinegar-based dressing. And to do that, I'm going to use a 1/4 cup of white vinegar. And then I'm gonna use a tablespoon of soy sauce. We're vegetarian in my house, so we don't use fish sauce, but you can also use fish sauce for this part. And then I'm also gonna sweeten it up with a little bit of brown sugar. This is a half a tablespoon of brown sugar. And when you make this, you can also, because the vinegar is just an acid, you can also use a different type of acid like calamansi juice, for example. They didn't happen to have calamansi at the market today, so I am using just plain white vinegar, and that's totally fine too. So we'll give this a mix, and this will kind of be like a vinaigrette for our salad. Okay, I'm back here checking on the eggplant. We have another one that's pretty much done, and as you can see, it's kind of gotten quite mushy here. So I'm gonna put this guy aside and let him cool down and get my last piece of eggplant on our flame. And this guy here, let's give him a turn. And make sure you have your vent on, because it does get a little bit on the smoky end in the kitchen. But that also is what gives it a really good smoky flavor when the salad is done. And for as much as this makes kind of charred up flakes everywhere and everything, believe it or not, cleanup's actually not that hard. Once everything's cooled, when you come to your stovetop, all you have to do is give it a good wipe down, and it's pretty fast. So here we have 2 eggplants that are already charred up, and as you can see, they don't look that appetizing now, but after we get all the skin off and peel these off, they'll be quite tasty. So at this point, I still have my eggplant in the background on the gas stovetop cooking the last 2 eggplant I have. I've got my diced tomatoes, my diced red onions, and some ginger. And I also made my dressing, which is a vinegar, soy sauce, brown sugar combo. I want to garnish this with a little bit of cilantro. If you don't like cilantro, if you're one of those people who thinks it tastes like soap, you can also use green onions or whatever you feel like kind of garnishing it with. So I'm just gonna cut up some cilantro. I tend to like a lot of cilantro, so I'm gonna give myself a bunch of cilantro here. I'm just gonna chop them, just a light chop, nothing crazy. I don't wanna mince it or anything. I'm just gonna give it a light chop to kind of separate the leaves out a little bit. So here I am in the last couple eggplant. They're starting to get pretty charred up on the outside. So this one needs to be a little bit softer for it to be done. I think this guy's pretty much done, so I'll take him off. This other guy here. Let me take this guy. Ooh, see how soft he is now? And they're kind of juicy. That's good. That's what we want. And okay, here I have my eggplant. Some of it is cooled down enough for me to handle. So what I'm gonna do, as you can see, it looks kind of charred and blackened. I'm going to get my eggplant and just start peeling off the skin, literally peeling off the skin. It should just come, here, let me have it so you guys can see it. It should just come right on off. And if you need to, it does help to run it under some water. So I'll probably get some off here and then run the rest underwater, and it should peel right off pretty easily if you chart it the right way. Okay, all right, let me get this guy under some running water here, like I said. Just had to move my camera, and that'll help get all the extra charred off pieces to come right on off. And then you'll be left with an eggplant that's pretty yummy. Here's my next eggplant right here. Again, it just comes right on off. The eggplant does. Give it some. So just peeled quite easily. Easier than peeling a boiled egg. And it should be kind of mushy. So once you have all these peeled off, we're gonna kind of chop this up and add it to our tomatoes and our onions. Okay, next thing I'm gonna get is my peeled eggplant. I took all the charred bits off of it already. I did have to run it under some water to get rid of the rest of it. And I'm going to get some of the cilantro off the board a little bit more. And then I'm just gonna basically, it'll be kind of mushy, so you can cube it up as much as you can. And I'm just gonna cut them into small cubes here. And again, it'll be mushy, so it'll be kind of mushy pieces like this. And so I'm just basically cutting it into 1-inch pieces along lengthwise, and then halving it down the middle of each piece. After this is done, I'm going to put my eggplant in a bowl and top it off with my onions, my tomatoes, and my, oh, this one's super mushy, so it's really gonna be quite mushy, and that's totally fine. This is going forward. And then I'm gonna put these pieces into a bowl. I'm gonna grab a bowl, and I will be topping this with my tomato, and I'll be topping it with my onions and my ginger mixture. So here is my eggplant right here. And then I've got my tomato, onion, and ginger mixture here. Let me just give that a quick stir just to mix it up. This is gonna be so good and so refreshing. And we're gonna top this on top of our eggplant. Just pour it on top of there. And next thing we're gonna do is get our dressing. And remember, this is our soy sauce. I use soy sauce, you can use fish sauce, vinegar, and brown sugar. And if you're not huge onto vinegar, I recommend using just a little bit, see how it tastes, and then adding more as you go. And I'm also gonna use a cilantro mixture, a cilantro garnish. And here's my dressing. I'm gonna just pour it right over. All right, and there you have it. Ensaladong talong. And let's try it. Kaina. It looks so good. The smokiness of the eggplant, the ginger, the dressing on it, it all just goes so well together.